Commander Vrixtal stood on the bridge of his ship, his four eyes narrowed as he studied the blue-green planet on the view screen. His scaled skin gleamed under the soft lights of the command center as he tapped a claw against the control panel. "Uncharted civilization, sir," reported his second-in-command. "Preliminary scans show significant technology development, but no spacefaring capabilities beyond their own solar system." Vrixtal nodded, his head crest rising slightly in interest. The Kreks were known throughout the galaxy as fearsome warriors, their powerful bodies and natural armor making them perfect soldiers for the galactic hegemony. Finding a new world to bring under their control always pleased his superiors. "Send the initial data to Central Command," Vrixtal ordered, "and prepare a stealth probe to gather more information." As the crew hurried to obey, Vrixtal studied the biological readings from the planet's dominant species. These humans appeared fragile compared to his own kind. No natural weapons, thin skin, limited strength. Yet somehow they had advanced technologically at a remarkable pace. "Curious," he muttered to himself. "How had they survived without being conquered already?" The hegemony's policy was clear: assess, infiltrate, then conquer or assimilate. This Earth would soon join the hundreds of worlds already under their control. On Earth, Lieutenant Jack Miller yawned as he monitored the deep space scanners at Station Horizon. The orbital platform was humanity's farthest outpost, designed to provide early warning of any approaching objects. His midnight shift usually passed without incident. The alert sounded softly at first, then grew more insistent. Jack straightened in his chair, sleep forgotten as his eyes widened at the readings. "This can't be right," he whispered, running the scan again. The results didn't change. Jack hit the emergency communication button. "Control, this is Station Horizon. We have an artificial object at the edge of our scanning range. It's not one of ours. I repeat, we have a potential first contact situation." Within minutes, the station buzzed with activity as additional personnel arrived to verify Jack's findings. Chief Science Officer Karen Pottle leaned over his shoulder, her face serious as she studied the readings. "It's definitely artificial," she confirmed. "And based on its movement patterns, it's under intelligent control. We're looking at an alien spacecraft, Jack." "Should we try to communicate?" Jack asked. Karen shook her head. "Not yet. We need to alert Earth governments first. This goes way above our pay grade." 12 hours later, the world's leaders gathered in an emergency virtual summit. Defense Secretary William Boyd addressed the assembled faces on his screen, his expression grim. "Ladies and gentlemen, we've confirmed the presence of an alien vessel in our solar system. It appears to be observing us from just beyond lunar orbit. So far, they've made no attempt to communicate." "What are our options?" asked the president. "Limited," Boyd admitted. "Our military capabilities can't reach them at that distance. We've put our space forces on high alert, but if they're hostile..." He let the sentence hang unfinished. Dr. Susan Wright, head of the newly formed First Contact Division, spoke up. "I recommend we initiate communication. If they wanted to attack, they could have done so already. The fact that they're observing suggests they're gathering intelligence, or preparing for invasion," muttered the defense secretary. "Either way," Susan countered, "dialogue is our best option. We should show them we're aware of their presence and open to peaceful interaction." The president nodded slowly. "Prepare a greeting message. Use all available channels, but also quietly put our military forces on standby. Let's hope they're friendly, but we should be ready if they're not." Back on his ship, Vrixtal received a message from Hegemony Command. His orders were clear: continue observation, assess military capabilities, identify weaknesses, and prepare for potential annexation. "Sir," called a communications officer, "we're detecting a transmission from the planet. It appears to be directed at us." Vrixtal's head crest rose in surprise. "They've spotted us. Impressive for such primitive beings." "Should we respond?" asked his second-in-command. Vrixtal considered this development. "Yes, Let's see what these humans have to say before we decide their fate. Little did he know that this first contact would challenge everything the Kreks thought they knew about strength, power, and the true nature of humanity. 3 days after first contact, Commander Vrixtal stood tall in the meeting chamber aboard his ship. His massive frame towered over the human delegation. Dr. Susan Wright led the Earth representatives, her face calm despite the tension in the room. "The galactic hegemony offers you a simple choice," Vrixtal announced, his translator converting his harsh clicks and growls into English. "Join us willingly as a subject world, or face conquest. Your civilization is young. Your weapons are primitive. Resistance would only cause needless suffering." Susan kept her expression neutral. "We appreciate your directness, Commander. However, Earth values its independence. Perhaps we could discuss a mutual alliance instead." Vrixtal's head crest flattened in what the humans had learned was amusement. "Alliance? Between equals? I think not." He gestured to one of his officers. "Perhaps a demonstration will help you understand your position." A side door slid open. 2 Krek soldiers entered, struggling to control a creature on a heavy chain. It resembled a cross between a tiger and a lizard, with 6 legs ending in razor-sharp claws. Its jaws snapped at the air, revealing multiple rows of teeth. "This is a Razorclaw," Vrixtal explained proudly. "One of many biological weapons in our arsenal. My personal war beast has killed hundreds in combat." The humans stepped back instinctively, except for Susan, who remained rooted in place. "Impressive," she said simply. "Though I notice your handlers seem to have trouble controlling it." Vrixtal's eyes narrowed. "The beast serves its purpose. It recognizes only its master and seeks to destroy all others. That is its value." He stepped closer to the snarling creature, which immediately grew calmer. "Even my presence commands its respect." Susan nodded thoughtfully. "I see. And these creatures help you conquer other worlds." "They are but one tool in our arsenal," Vrixtal replied, "but effective in creating psychological impact." Jack Miller, standing behind Susan, whispered something in her ear. She nodded slightly before addressing the alien commander again. "We understand your position better now. Earth requests 24 hours to consider your terms." Vrixtal seemed pleased. "A wise decision. Return tomorrow with your answer. Remember what you've seen today." As the human delegation was escorted back to their shuttle, Susan maintained her composure. Only when they were safely aboard their own vessel did she let out a long breath. "Well, that was educational," she said. "They're trying to intimidate us," Jack replied, his face grim. "Those creatures were meant to frighten us into submission." Karen Patel, who had been quietly observing, spoke up. "Did you notice how they controlled those animals? Pure dominance and fear. No actual partnership." Susan nodded, a small smile forming on her lips. "I did notice, and I think I have an idea for our next meeting." She turned to Jack. "Could you contact your sister, the one who trains service dogs?" "Amy? Sure, but why?" "Because tomorrow we're bringing our own beast to the negotiations." Later that evening, Earth's Emergency Council met to discuss the hegemony's ultimatum. "They clearly see us as easy prey," the Defense Secretary stated. "Our military options are limited against their technology." "We need to buy time," said the President. "Find a weakness or a way to negotiate from a position of strength." Susan stepped forward. "I believe I have a strategy. The Kreks value strength and dominance. They tried to show us their power today with those war beasts. I suggest we respond in kind, but with an Earth twist." "What are you proposing?" asked the President. "Something that will confuse them, make them reassess their understanding of humans. They think we're weak because we lack natural weapons. Let's show them what real strength looks like." "And how do we do that?" Susan smiled. "By bringing man's best friend to the negotiating table." The council members exchanged puzzled glances, but Susan's confident expression never wavered. "Trust me," she said. "Sometimes the best way to change someone's perspective is to show them something completely unexpected. Commander Vrixtal and his officers waited in the meeting chamber, their postures rigid with military discipline. When the doors slid open to admit the human delegation, Vrixtal noticed they were carrying a large sealed container. His curiosity piqued, but he maintained his intimidating stance. "Humans," he greeted them. "Have you reached your decision?" Dr. Susan Wright stepped forward. "We have, Commander. But first, we wish to share something with you. You showed us your war beast yesterday. It's only fair we show you one of ours." Vrixtal's head crest rose in surprise. He hadn't expected this. The humans had seemed physically weak, with no natural weapons. The idea that they possessed war beasts was intriguing. "Very well," he said, gesturing to his guards to be alert. "Show us this beast of yours." Susan nodded to Jack, who placed the container on the floor and carefully opened it. The Kreks tensed, hands moving to their weapons. Out bounded a golden-furred creature with 4 legs, floppy ears, and a wildly wagging tail. It immediately ran to Susan, circling her legs excitedly before sitting at her side, tongue lolling from its mouth. "This is Buddy," Susan announced, scratching the dog behind its ears, "one of Earth's companion animals." Vrixtal stared in confusion. "This is your war beast." "This, soft creature." "Not a war beast," Susan corrected. "A friend. Dogs have lived alongside humans for thousands of years. They help us hunt, find lost people, guard our homes, and provide companionship." To demonstrate, Susan gave a hand signal. Buddy immediately lay down. Another signal, and he rolled over. When she patted her leg, he returned to her side, looking up adoringly. The Kreks officers murmured among themselves. One of them approached cautiously, examining Buddy with obvious confusion. "It obeys without force or restraint," the officer noted. "How is this possible?" "Trust and affection," Jack explained. "Buddy wants to please us because we treat him well. He's part of our family." Vrixtal's expression was unreadable. "You keep predators as family. This creature has teeth, claws." "Yes," Susan agreed. "Dogs descended from wolves. Formidable hunters. But through generations of partnership with humans, they've become something new. Something better than either species could be alone." To everyone's surprise, Buddy trotted over to Vrixtal and sat in front of him, tail still wagging. The Kreks commander froze, uncertain how to respond to this unexpected approach. "He's friendly," Susan assured him. "He wants to meet you." Hesitantly, Vrixtal extended one clawed hand. Buddy sniffed it, then pushed his head under it, clearly asking to be petted. The alien commander awkwardly patted the dog's head, his expression shifting from confusion to fascination. "Remarkable," he muttered. "It shows no fear." Susan corrected gently. "Not it. And no, he doesn't fear you because he trusts us, and we're calm around you." The Kreks second in command leaned toward Vrixtal. "Sir, this must be some form of psychological warfare. The humans control this predator completely, without chains or pain. What does this imply about their dominance?" Vrixtal's eyes narrowed as he considered this perspective. If humans could so thoroughly domesticate natural hunters that the animals served willingly, perhaps they were more formidable than they appeared. "We will need to reconsider our assessment of humans," he said finally, straightening to his full height. "This demonstration has been illuminating." Susan called Buddy back to her side with a soft whistle. "We're glad you think so, Commander. Now about that ultimatum you gave us yesterday. We'd like to propose an alternative arrangement." For the first time since their arrival, Vrixtal seemed genuinely interested in what the humans had to say. He glanced again at Buddy, who had settled calmly at Susan's feet, completely at ease in a room full of aliens. "I'm listening," the commander said. Commander Vrixtal paced the length of his private quarters, his mind troubled. The image of the human dog continued to disturb him. 3 of his 4 eyes blinked in sequence as he processed this new information. "Commander," his second in command, Officer Krez, announced from the doorway. The report is ready for transmission to Hegemony High Command. Vrixtal turned. Show me. Krez handed over a data tablet. The commander read quickly, his head crest rising in alarm. This assessment is incomplete, he growled. You've failed to emphasize the most important discovery. Sir, the humans have domesticated apex predators as companions. Vrixtal's voice carried both awe and concern, not as slaves or weapons, but as willing allies. Do you understand what this implies? Krez shifted uncomfortably, that they are more dangerous than they appear. Precisely. Any species that can bend natural hunters to their will without force must possess extraordinary dominance. Vrixtal modified the report himself, adding his personal observations. We must learn more before proceeding with invasion plans. The next day, Vrixtal requested another meeting with the human delegation. This time, they gathered at a neutral location, a small conference room on Earth's orbital station. I wish to understand more about your relationship with these dogs, Vrixtal stated bluntly. This connection between your species defies our understanding of predator behavior. Dr. Susan Wright smiled. We'd be happy to demonstrate. We've arranged something special today. A new human entered the room. She wore a blue uniform with official insignia. This is Officer Olivia Martinez from our Coast Guard, Susan explained. She and her partner Max perform search and rescue operations. Olivia nodded respectfully to the aliens. At her side stood a large black and tan dog with alert ears and intelligent eyes. Max is a German shepherd, Olivia explained. He's trained to find people lost at sea or buried under collapsed buildings. Vrixtal studied the dog with interest. He appears more formidable than the yellow one from yesterday. Different breeds have different strengths, Olivia said. Max has exceptional scent detection abilities and physical endurance. To demonstrate, Olivia set up a simple exercise. 3 crew members hid small objects containing human scent in different parts of the large conference room. At Olivia's command, Max began searching methodically, his nose working constantly. Within minutes, he had located all 3 items. Remarkable sensory capabilities, Officer Krez noted, clearly impressed. But more impressive is his devotion, Olivia continued. Max will risk his life to save strangers because we've trained together to form a team. She demonstrated complex commands using both voice and hand signals. Max responded instantly to each one, his focus absolute. In dangerous situations, I must trust Max completely, and he must trust me, Olivia explained. Our bond is what makes us effective. Vrixtal's head tilted in a Krex equivalent of deep thought. In our culture, we control beasts through dominance and fear. Your approach is different. May I? Susan asked, gesturing toward Max. When Olivia nodded, Susan approached and knelt beside the dog. Humans and dogs evolved together over thousands of years. We helped each other survive. Dogs warned us of dangers and helped us hunt. We provided them with food and shelter. Max leaned against Susan affectionately as she scratched behind his ears. This relationship transformed both species, she continued. It's perhaps humanity's oldest alliance. Vrixtal watched this interaction with growing understanding. And these bonds extend beyond utility. These animals live in your homes. As family members, Susan confirmed. Many humans consider their dogs to be their closest companions. The commander's expression changed subtly as this information settled in his mind. He turned to Officer Krez. Update the report to High Command immediately. The humans possess capabilities we have never encountered before. His voice lowered. Their strength is not in weapons or technology. It is in their capacity for interspecies cooperation. For the first time since arriving at Earth, Vrixtal felt a sensation unfamiliar to Krex warriors. Uncertainty about the outcome of a potential conflict. Vrixtal stood rigidly before the holographic projection of Admiral Zexnor, the highest-ranking Krex in the galactic hegemony. The Admiral's scales had dulled with age, but his eyes remained sharp, predatory. Your reports are disturbing, Commander, Zexnor growled. You were sent to assess this planet for conquest, not to admire their pets. With respect, Admiral, I believe we must reconsider our approach, Vrixtal replied. These humans have capabilities we've never encountered. Their relationship with canine suggests. It suggests nothing. The Admiral's head crest flared with anger. You've allowed yourself to be manipulated by primitive psychological tactics. The High Command has reviewed your findings and rejected your conclusions. Vrixtal's inner eyelids flickered in frustration. Admiral, I strongly advise. Your advice is not required. The hegemony has made its decision. Earth will be annexed, by force if necessary. The Admiral's tone softened slightly. You've been a valuable officer, Vrixtal. That's why I'm sending Battle Group 7 to complete this mission. Stand down and observe. That's an order. The transmission ended abruptly, leaving Vrixtal alone with his thoughts. For the first time in his military career, he questioned his loyalty to the hegemony. At that same moment, deep in space, a hegemony cruiser detached from Battle Group 7. Its commander, ambitious and eager to prove himself, had decided not to wait for the official invasion. A quick strike against an Earth outpost would bring him glory and advancement. His target, Station Horizon. Lieutenant Jack Miller had just finished his shift when the alarm sounded. Red emergency lights flashed throughout the station. Unidentified vessel approaching at high speed, announced the automated system. All personnel proceed to evacuation points. Jack ran to the command center, where chaos reigned. Screens showed a hegemony ship, but not Vrixtal's vessel, a different design, moving with clear aggressive intent. They're jamming our communications, reported the communications officer. We can't call Earth for backup. The station commander looked grim. We have no defensive capabilities against that level of technology. Everyone to the escape pods. Now. Jack hesitated. Sir, I can't leave Rex. Lieutenant, that's an order. Your service dog is important. But he's more than that, sir. And I have an idea. As crew members rushed to evacuate, Jack ran to his quarters where Rex, his German Shepherd service dog, waited patiently. The dog had been part of the station's crew for 2 years, helping Jack manage his anxiety after a previous space accident. Come on, boy, Jack said, grabbing Rex's special harness. We've got work to do. While the last escape pods launched, Jack and Rex made their way to the station's environmental control room. It was the most defensible position, with sealed doors and independent life support. From there, Jack could monitor the hegemony ship as it docked with the station. His hands trembled slightly, but Rex pressed against his leg, a calming presence. Jack took a deep breath and steadied himself. Just like we practiced, Rex, he whispered. Stay close. The station shuddered as the alien vessel forced its way through the docking port. Soon, Jack's monitors showed Krek soldiers entering the station, moving in practiced formations, searching each section methodically. It wouldn't be long before they reached the environmental control room. Jack knelt beside Rex, looking into the dog's trusting eyes. I don't know if this will work, boy, but we've got to try. When the Krek soldiers finally breached the sealed door, they found Jack sitting calmly at the control panel, Rex at his side. The dog rose to his feet, positioning himself between Jack and the intruders, not growling but alert and watchful. The Krek squad leader raised his weapon. Surrender, human. Rex didn't attack, but he didn't back down either. His presence was steady, protective without aggression. I'm unarmed, Jack said evenly. And so is my partner. The soldiers hesitated, clearly confused by this scenario. Their intelligence had indicated the station would be abandoned. Finding a lone human with a canine companion wasn't in their invasion protocol. What happened next would change the course of human-Krek relations forever. The Krek soldiers surrounded Jack and Rex, weapons trained on them both. The squad leader stepped forward, his scaled skin gleaming under the station's emergency lights. You will come with us, he ordered Jack. The beast will be confined. Jack kept one hand on Rex's back. He stays with me. He's not a weapon. He's my medical support animal. The alien's head tilted in confusion. Medical support. Before Jack could explain, a commotion erupted at the doorway. Commander Vrixtal pushed his way through the soldiers, his imposing frame filling the entrance. "Stand down immediately," he bellowed at his fellow Kreks. This attack was not authorized. The squad leader turned, clearly surprised. "Commander, our orders came from Battle Group 7. We are to secure this station as the first step in the annexation of Earth." "Those orders were premature," Vrixtal growled. "I am still the primary contact with the humans. This reckless action threatens delicate negotiations." Jack watched this exchange with growing hope. Rex remained calm beside him, sensing his human's relaxing posture. Vrixtal approached Jack slowly. "I apologize for this incident, Lieutenant Miller. I was not informed of this attack." "Commander," Jack said cautiously, "your people were about to separate me from Rex. You need to understand why that can't happen." Vrixtal's inner eyelids blinked rapidly. "Explain." "Rex helps me function. After an accident 2 years ago, I developed a condition that causes severe anxiety attacks. Rex is trained to detect the early signs and help me prevent or manage them." The commander studied Rex with renewed interest. Another form of partnership, not for hunting or protection, but for healing. "Exactly," Jack confirmed. "Many humans with various conditions rely on service animals. They're not pets or tools. They're partners who make our lives possible." Vrixtal turned to the security monitors showing footage from the confrontation moments earlier. He replayed the scene, watching how Rex had positioned himself protectively before Jack, but hadn't attacked. "The animal showed restraint," he observed. "It could have attacked our soldiers, but chose not to." Jack corrected gently. "And yes, Rex is trained to protect me without aggression unless absolutely necessary." The commander's head crest flattened in what Jack had learned was thoughtfulness. "This challenges everything we Kreks believe about strength and dominance." Vrixtal addressed the squad leader. "Secure the station but harm no one. I must contact High Command immediately." In the commander's temporary office, Vrixtal prepared his report. The unauthorized attack had created a diplomatic crisis, but it had also provided valuable information about humans and their canine companions. Admiral Zexnor's hologram appeared, his expression furious. "Commander, what is the meaning of this interference? Battle Group 7 reports you countermanded their orders." "With good reason, Admiral," Vrixtal replied firmly. "The attack was premature and based on incomplete information. I have new evidence that must be considered before any invasion proceeds." "What evidence could possibly justify this insubordination?" Vrixtal transmitted the security footage from Station Horizon. "Observe the human and his companion. This dog could have attacked our soldiers to protect its human but showed calculated restraint. It defended without killing." "So," the Admiral sneered, "so this confirms my earlier reports. The relationship between humans and these animals isn't based on dominance through fear, as we practice. It's a true partnership, each species compensating for the other's weaknesses." Vrixtal continued with growing passion. "This human's dog provides medical support. Others assist with hunting, protection, or finding lost people. The dogs serve willingly, out of loyalty and affection. They choose to cooperate rather than being forced to submit." The Admiral's expression changed subtly as he processed this information. If humans can form such bonds with another species, Vrixtal concluded, what might they be capable of diplomatically? The hegemony has never encountered a civilization with this capacity for interspecies cooperation. It represents both opportunity and potential threat. For the first time, uncertainty flickered across Admiral Zexnor's face. "Continue your investigation, Commander," he ordered. "The full invasion is postponed pending your final assessment. But be warned, The hegemony's patience is not unlimited. Commander Vrixtal stood tall as the hegemony delegation filed into the large assembly hall on Earth. After weeks of tense negotiations, the highest-ranking officials had finally arrived to make their final assessment. Admiral Zex Nor led the group, his ancient eyes taking in the gathered humans with cautious interest. The hall had been arranged to showcase humanity's relationship with dogs. Along the walls, displays highlighted the history of human-canine partnership through the ages, from ancient hunting companions to modern working dogs. "Welcome to Earth," Dr. Susan Wright greeted them. "We've prepared demonstrations that we hope will help you understand our civilization better." Admiral Zex Nor inclined his head slightly. "Commander Vrixtal's reports have been unusual. We are here to see for ourselves before making our decision regarding Earth's status." Susan nodded. "Then let us begin." The first demonstration featured search and rescue teams. A scenario had been set up where volunteers hid under piles of rubble. Search dogs located them within minutes, barking excitedly to alert their handlers. "These teams save thousands of lives every year after disasters," Susan explained. "The dogs can find people buried where our technology cannot detect them." Next came police dogs, showing their training in finding hidden objects and apprehending suspects, always with controlled force, never causing serious harm. The hegemony officials murmured among themselves, clearly impressed by the dog's discipline and effectiveness. A small girl in a wheelchair rolled forward with her golden retriever walking beside her. The dog wore a special harness. "This is Emma," Susan introduced them, "and her service dog, Bailey. Bailey helps Emma with daily tasks that are difficult due to her physical condition." Emma demonstrated how Bailey could retrieve dropped items, open doors, and even help her transfer from her wheelchair to a regular seat. The dog performed each task with gentle precision. "Bailey gives me independence," Emma explained to the aliens. "She's my best friend and my helper." Admiral Zex Nor stepped closer, his usual stern expression softening slightly. "The animal understands its purpose. It was not forced to learn these skills." Emma corrected without fear. "And no, Bailey loves to work. She gets excited when I put on her vest, because she knows she's helping me." As if understanding, Bailey wagged her tail happily. The final demonstration took place in a quiet corner. An elderly man sat with a small mixed-breed dog on his lap. The dog rested calmly as the man stroked its fur. "This is our therapy program," Susan explained. "Dogs visit hospitals, nursing homes, and people suffering from trauma or mental health challenges. Their presence reduces stress hormones and increases feelings of well-being." "Simply by being present?" Vrixtal asked. "No special training. Some training for good behavior, but mostly they help just by being dogs, by offering unconditional acceptance and companionship." Admiral Zex Nor turned to Vrixtal. "You were correct, Commander. This is unlike anything we've encountered in our conquests." Later, as the hegemony officials deliberated, Vrixtal found himself walking through a nearby park with Susan. They stopped to watch people and dogs enjoying the sunshine, playing fetch, jogging together, or simply sitting companionably on benches. "Your people have achieved something remarkable," Vrixtal admitted. "In all our travels, we've never seen a species form such a bond with another." "That is not the correct way," Vrixtal said quietly, "but perhaps it could be." The Admiral's decision came the following day. Earth would be granted autonomous status within the hegemony, protected from other potential threats, but free to maintain its own culture and continue its development. Furthermore, the Admiral announced, "Commander Vrixtal will remain as permanent liaison between our peoples. He has demonstrated unusual insight into human nature." As the ceremony concluded, Susan approached Vrixtal with a small carrier. Inside was a beagle puppy with bright eyes and floppy ears. "A peace offering," she said, "and perhaps the beginning of a new understanding between our species." Vrixtal stared at the tiny creature, which looked back at him without fear. Hesitantly, he reached out one clawed finger. The puppy licked it enthusiastically. For the first time in his military career, the commander laughed, a sound that surprised even himself. "What is its name?" he asked. "That's for you to decide," Susan replied. "She's yours now." As the puppy squirmed happily in his massive hands, Vrixtal realized that the most fearsome beast in the galaxy might not be one with claws and fangs, but one with a wagging tail and the power to change hearts.